How's it going, everyone? College Lefty, and in this video I have for you all the set 36 headliner card as well as the brand new 12-0 flawless battle royale rewards. Now these cards are very good. I'll go ahead and hide the face cam. We'll take a look at some of them. First of all, we have this Yadier Molina, who has almost maxed out defense as a gold glove player and also increased power. If you watched two videos previously, you'll see that Yadier Molina had lower power in last year's game. Josh Donaldson is the first 12-0 flawless reward. This is the MVP card. I was kind of hoping for Bryce Harper, but I also talked about Josh Donaldson in my previous video. We didn't really get this prediction right, or really any of these predictions correct for Battle Royale rewards. I was able to kind of guess that Yadier Molina, though. This Bob Feller has the build to be the best pitcher in this game. I wasn't sure, depending on how they made him, built off of his previous card. That was a 93, I believe. I wasn't sure if they were going to give him Outlier. I wasn't sure if he would still have the durability rating, but that 124 K per 9, 100 hits per 9, the 63 walks per 9, and 85 control is still pretty good. I mean, he's a very easy pitcher to use, so the 85 control attribute will come into play a little bit more. But take a look at this. Primary pitch exceeds max velocity. He doesn't have Outlier on the sinker, so that pitch is going to move more effectively, even though that's probably his worst pitch. But he does have a good amount of break on it. He has either 85 break or 85 control to get that sinker baller quirk. The main reason why I think he's the best pitcher is because he also has 95 durability. So not only does he have the Outlier quirk, but he has the durability, which doesn't really matter in terms of getting injured in this game, but it really plays a huge factor in the stamina regeneration that the pitchers need in between games. If you notice the Unbreakable quirk, he will be recovering energy at a high rate. I'll also have a video linked where I talk about this quirk and some of the pitchers that have it, and this is one of the reasons why I think that SDS decided to go with him as the 12-0 flawless reward, because he is very overpowered in this way. He's going to be able to throw, 8 innings, 9 inning games with that 123 stamina, and then bounce back 2 or 3 games later with full stamina, rather than if you use Corey Kluber for a full 9 inning game, max out his stamina, then he's going to require about 4 games, maybe even 5, to get back to that full stamina range if you don't get any quits or if you decide to bring him in out of the bullpen. Bob Feller is also going to be effective in that way. If you use him in relief, he'll bounce back for you to be able to start within the next game or two because of that Unbreakable quirk. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get into some event highlights. I'm working on prestiging Oral Hershiser, and also I'm working on Kerry Wood. Those two pitchers have been the best pitchers for me, but now I'm going to go ahead and try and get this Bob Feller. I don't care if I have to spend 300, 400,000 stubs. I think that he will eventually be worth it because of how many games I'm able to use him for, and ultimately win, because he should be a very dominant pitcher. Of course, if I'm not able to locate with him, then he's just like every other pitcher in the game. He will be easier to hit if you're not getting good feedback consistently. So with that being said, I think that this Hall of Fame event was a pretty good event to kind of get my timing back, try and lock in to make World Series, to earn more stubs for this upcoming collection. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not sure if I want to get Bob Feller quite yet, is because I want to prepare to see who is this collection reward going to be, and is it going to be worth it to lock in that many cards? Do I want to go with my stubs in a different direction? I'm not really sure yet. So I am definitely glad, though, that we have a lot of good players released into the game. We have a nice catcher, 98 overall, Yadier Molina. We also have the MVP Josh Donaldson, who has amazing power, hundreds across the board, great reaction and defense as well. He's going to play third base amazing in this year's game. I mean, he should be one of the best ones, even though he doesn't have that diamond defense. He'll have the 93 reaction, which I think reaction plays a huge factor in this year's game. But that's just kind of my experience. I'm trying to talk a little bit about, things that have helped me, and also what to keep in mind for when you're trying to build your team. If you're looking for pitchers, you might be able to use some budget pitchers that have some of those quirks, even though they're not live active, live series active quirks. They still make a difference in the game somehow. It's harder to tell, how they play a factor into the game. I know that some quirks work in different ways, But I know from using Greg Maddux, I know from using a couple pitchers with that unbreakable quirk, like the prospect Brendan McKay. I didn't use the future star Brendan McKay, but he's another good example. I mean, I pitched with that guy through about 4 or 5 innings and then rest him for 1 or 2 games and he's back to full stamina. I feel like that's pretty useful, especially in this game. If you can get a good pitcher that can bounce back like that, and you get into, the CS division, or you're trying to make a push towards the 1,000 rating, once you get past World Series, those types of pitchers. I mean, Bob Feller with the 101 fastball and the slower changeup, slider, sinker, 12-6 combination, and he's able to bounce back. That's just going to be a very big asset to have. But also added Oral Hershiser to the squad. 10th Prestige card unlocked. 99 overall Prestige Oral Hershiser. I'm excited to use this card. I'm excited to try out that red diamond. We haven't really unlocked, too many pitchers yet. We have 8 position players and then 2 pitchers now. Oral Hershiser and Mariano Rivera. We'll go ahead and use Kerry Wood in this game and a few of these other games to try and work on some innings and some strikeouts with him. I did tweet out my stats with these 2 cards in general, both Oral Hershiser and Kerry Wood. But take a look at Gary Sheffield out in left field. I also tweeted out a gameplay highlight of this clip right here. Gary Sheffield with the absolute cannon from left field, almost at the warning track. He started his throw, or at least running in from the warning track, and also the opponent got a pretty bad jump on that last play. 47 speed, absolutely gunned down at the plate. We go deep with a 2-run shot, and now we have Tony Gwynn up, mixing up the lineup a little bit, putting Tony Gwynn in there, Al Kaline, Mike Schmidt. I tried him out. He didn't do anything for me, but some of these higher contact players, good, decent power, good power, I would say, in the mid-60s, mid-70s, is very useful, especially if they have, 125 contact and vision with that timing window this year. I think that will help out. George Brett has been a great player for me in this event. I'm just really enjoying trying out a lot of these cards. This opponent that I'm playing in this one had an amazing ranked seasons record. His record was like 90-something and 30. So I know that this is going to be a tough game here. We end up going deep with Harmon Killebrew there. And pitch, I wasn't really on it with the PCI, but the barrel of the bat looked like it squared up the ball pretty well on that bottom left swing feedback. Here with George Brett, we get a perfect line drive. A pitch, I felt like I was a little on top of it, but it was up in the zone. So some kind of interesting swings there. But here Kerry Wood's helping himself out. He's going to rip a base hit up the middle. He can swing it a little bit. He has some hitting attributes. I mean, the best hitting pitcher I think we're going to get this year might be Madison Bumgarner. It might be Bob Gibson. I thought that we might get Bob Gibson released today. But, of course, those are guys that aren't included as a two-way player. I mean, of course, guys like Shohei Ohtani, that future star, Brendan McKay, maybe a couple other guys are going to be implemented in that way. I'm really hoping we get a Hunter Green card eventually. But that future star, Brendan McKay. But there are still a lot of prospect players as well that need to get future star cards, and hopefully they do before it's a little bit too late, I think. I don't think that it will be too late for some guys like future star Nate Pearson or Michael Kopech. I think some of those cards will be end game pitchers, very similar to Bob Feller, the one that we just got. But I don't think they'll have the unbreakable quirk. I'm not really sure how they're going to be built in this game. But just those guys, for example. But other guys, like a few of these, future stars, like maybe O'Neal Cruz is another one that might be end game for a future star. But some of these other guys, hopefully Luis Robert gets one. I talked about some of those guys in my tweet. I also retweeted Movie Gaming's post. But some of the other ones, I don't know if they're going to be necessarily end game players. I think that they'll be very good, but I don't know, depending on how they're made, if they're going to be end game or not, depending on the overall and the attributes that they give them. A few of those cards look intriguing, though, and I am excited for some of this upcoming content. We should have, an updated schedule here pretty soon after the 6-inning bosses are revealed, and we should also see some more information talking about this big collection coming out within the next few days. This week of MLB The Show is going to be incredible leading up to this season. I thought we might have, MVP Bryce Harper released as a BR reward for this time around. Who knows? Maybe they're saving that card for a little bit later in the year. I think that that would have been a great card to implement into the game right before the season launched to kind of hype up the game even more. I'm sure the game has, you know, tons of hype already, but just kind of my thinking there. That's how I kind of predicted him. But anyway, we hit another home run with Harmon Killebrew, and this one the opponent replayed. It went 116 off the bat, 443 feet, and in the upper deck of the Atlanta Braves home stadium. So that was a pretty good shot there from Harmon Killebrew. This opponent ended up quitting out after that game, but we're making some good progress on Prestige Kerry Wood. I was able to unlock my 10th Prestige card in Oral Hershiser in this video, and I wanted to provide some of the brand new content and talk a little bit about my thoughts on those cards. I'm going to be looking on the market to see how much this Bob Feller is going for. Until next time, everyone, peace out.